Vegan for life.
My name is Lingren and my co-host is
Edward Thomas.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
I don't know. I was trying to try a different voice. I thought our fans would really appreciate that.
I think some people's headphones just burst there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, they shouldn't be listening that loud.
Oh,
Please
yeah,
cut down the decibels, you know?
It's bad for your hearing.
Exactly. We're good for your brain, but bad for your hearing.
Okay, so today I suggested to Ed we should talk about how or does our past shape us.
But did you suggest it? Or did when you pulled out your gun and put it to my head, so we would talk about this today?
Well, both.
I
suggested it first and then
you took the gun. Okay, well,
so,
in that case then.
I can give you a background why I came up with this topic.
Yes,
so,
I want to know. I'm really curious.
Well, I was at a gathering at Bobo's house.
Mm-hmm.
That's my husband's brother-in-law, and they're Chinese. And there was this one Chinese guy, and we just talked. It was really nice. And then we came to the topic of getting married or not.
Wow.
And he was in the beginning of our talk. He was like really, really anti. He's like, that's the
anti-marriage.
Yeah, he's like, that's a catastrophe because. And then I asked him why, and then he said, well, like, I already have problems, and then she'll come, and she have her problems. I mean, and then it's just catastrophe. I'm like...
He's got a point.
Well, then I told him, but we all got problems. It doesn't matter if you're married or not.
And he understood that some people don't have problems.
No, and then he's like, yeah, okay. But then we dig deeper, and I think we talked about that, or he told me about his past relationships he had with different women. Mm-hmm. And I think he was so traumatized by those relationships that he like lost faith.
What kind of women was he dating? Was it like, No,
I think also that
Maleficent.
So he had some girl. I think the girls were not understanding of his workload that he had. Like, so he said that sometimes he had to work overtime. And then those girls were like, no, why are... And then those girls were jealous because he had like a female colleague. And they're like, oh. And then he always had to explain himself. And then she would be like immature.
Why are you working with women?
Yeah. Then
because
she would be
they happen to be at the job.
Like, oh, well, you don't take time for me and you don't care about me. That kind of manipulation, blah, blah, blah.
You mean like the kind of whiny, manipulative kind of person, we're not going to say, of a certain flavor? Women.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think all women are capable of that, but not all women use that.
Oh, wow. You're trying to get deep today. Okay. Well, let me put on my deep voice.
But another thing I think that contributed to this was the last year he had a really severe illness, I would say, or condition.
A severe reaction to women. Like, we all have that to nagging,
No, like a really bad condition because he thought he would die and the doctors didn't know what it was.
Wow.
So it was really, really serious, and he just came to Sweden. Like, he worked in Sweden for 2 years, and he said he didn't really connect a lot with a lot of people. So he was all by himself.
Yeah.
And he said he didn't want to tell his parents because he didn't want to burden them, because he didn't know what was going on, but the doctor said it was really bad, and he was waiting 2 weeks. Yeah, so he thought he might die, and he was like, I think he's 30 now, so last year he was 29.
Well, that's good, because 29 comes before 30. So I'm glad you can do that. You impress me more and more every time I sit and talk to you.
When you get older, wow, those skills just expand. Anyway, so I'm wondering, or I want to talk with you about how the past is shaping us now. These kind of like relationships, because I told him, but those things taught you what you don't want, what you don't like, what you should at all costs avoid.
Or what it's showing him is that he's going to keep choosing the same kind of woman because that's his flavor. That's his go-to. He's like, oh, here's a woman who's going to be like a partner in life. No, I don't want that. Oh, here's someone's going to nag me to death and make my life a living hell. Yay! I will choose her over and over and over again.
But then you could go to fast track, just marry one, and then you don't have to do all the other ones.
No, see, he's smart enough not to get married to them, but he's stupid enough to keep dating them. So he's I don't know what's wrong with him. But okay, so in that case,
but it
You should ask him about his relationship with his mother and how did his mother treat his father.
Oh.
That's usually when there's a pattern in their life, then usually you have to go back to their primary family and you figure out. So describe the relationship your mom had with your dad. And probably in like 90% of the cases,
that's the problem.
They're choosing mom, a variation of mommy.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Wow.
I know.
So
it's really sad.
So how was your relationship to your mom? Because you chose 3 different women.
I didn't choose them. They chose me.
But you accepted them.
Nope. They kept nagging me until I couldn't
give in.
Because I couldn't resist anymore. All my defenses were eaten away. Yes, well, I've had a couple of relationships in my life with different people which is really basically the same person.
Really?
Very similar. Okay, not the first one. The first one was a loony bin. The first one, I don't know what was wrong with me. I don't know what's wrong with her. I just know that she was evil, crazy, and mean. And then the next 2 are really, really similar. They're the same age.
Oh, wow.
They're both introverted. I'm like,
I don't get it. Why you would choose someone who is that introvert? Like you are on the extreme of the extrovert side.
I'm an introvert,
and then you would choose the extreme on the introvert side, which is like
because introverts are really good at pretending to be extroverts.
No, they are not.
If they want you bad enough, and
if they want you bad enough,
they'll trick you.
Okay.
They're like, here's the bait. And you're like, ooh. And then you.
But how did those past relationships set you up with your wife now?
I don't know if they did. I don't know. I think when I married Annette, I didn't know anything about relationships. I didn't even reflect upon relationships.
How didn't you know anything about you were in relationships? How did you not know anything about relationships?
I'm a guy. What? Dating a woman. Okay. And what do you know about relationships? She's alive.
Every midnight, it's just the brain delete.
Yes, exactly. It's like wake up in the morning. Oh, what happened yesterday? I don't know. Let's start all over again. Boop. No, I think that it's actually being married is what actually caused me to start studying relationships.
Because you couldn't get out?
No, because I was curious about what are the dynamics in a relationship. I just didn't know enough, if I'm going to be honest. Oh my gosh. Annette, don't listen to this. Okay. She might leave me. So you're just stupid. I thought you were just different. You're stupid. I'm going to leave you, you dumb man.
Oh because that's my voice.
I'm like, because after 30 years, you didn't figure that out until I said it? Well, okay.
Who's the dummy now?
Exactly. It's not me. I'm still the same. No. And so I think that, if I had to do things all over again, then obviously I have a lot more information, insight, and wisdom, and I would do things quite differently. So, and I think that's
dating. Or in marriage? Or
everything.
Everything, okay.
Oh my gosh, there's so many things to do differently.
So many regrets.
No, I don't have any regrets. I just would do it differently.
Okay.
Not because I regret it, but just because
I want to improve it.
No, I'd like to see a different outcome. Mm-hmm. I want to see.
Let's move on. Okay.
Would the grass be greener on the other side? No, but I think so. I think that when you come to this whole idea about your past, of course, your past affects you. Mm-hmm. It could be things like, like when I grew up, because I was short.
You're still short. No, joking.
I was going to say your mama's short. But
she is.
Like, that's not an insult. That's a truth statement. No, but I think like growing up and not being, like it took me such a long time to physically develop so that no one wanted to be on their team. I was always the last person chosen. I used to get teased all the time for being smart. I like things that people didn't really like at my age. I mean,
old grandpa.
the first. I mean, I grew up listening to church music, then classical music, and then rock and roll. And it was like, what kind of black guy are you? What's wrong with you? I'm like, what do you mean? I didn't understand, and so there's all these different just things, and I think that I didn't really feel. I would say this: I didn't really have the confidence to understand what I really wanted. And by the time I figured out what I really wanted out of life and how I wanted to, and the person I was at, I was comfortable being me. I was already married. So all those things happened later. Everything was late for me in life. But looking back, I can see that feeling of rejection. So I think like once I was talking to my psychologist, and my psychologist was asking about past relationships, and I just wanted someone to be nice to me.
Oh.
Because women weren't nice to me, and they were so mean that I just thought I didn't have any other expectation than
this was your reference. They're mean, and anyone who was not mean was good.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
which I didn't know that people could be nice and still not the right one for you. Oh wow!
Learn the really hard way.
Yeah, and so I think that's one of those things that, yeah, of course your past affects everything, because you're usually making decisions not because you're willing to take a risk, but you're making decisions based on your reference point. And if your reference point does not allow, well, I wouldn't say it's not really good or bad. It's just if it really hasn't allowed you to develop enough self insight about who you truly are and how God has made you and things like that, you don't know how to choose
for yourself.
No, for anything, just anyone. I mean, you don't know when someone is good in your life or bad. So here's this guy. He has to get involved with these whiny, manipulative people who don't really understand his workload, but he's not really making any other changes. And I would assume.
Well, his changes now is just to abstain and not.
That's not a change. That's like saying, okay,
from life.
I won't put myself in a situation where I could be challenged.
Where I could fail.
Exactly. And so it's his result is to then withdraw. But it's not really necessarily providing him any happiness or the things he really wants.
It's not going to fix it.
No.
And I told him, after talking to him, you don't seem like a person. You have the gift of singleness, so you should work on that problem.
Well, but it's painful because it means, the only way you can work past things is you have to process them, which means you have to take the bandage off it or the stone or whatever it is that you've been suppressing everything with, and you have to deal with that.
A deep.
Yeah, you got to go back through that. And it's really nasty.
It's nasty.
And it's painful. But once you do that, there's a sense of clarity, I think, that comes from that. And then you're able to make a decision and make a decision that you can actually live with. Yeah. I'm like, okay. And now I'm making this decision with the knowledge and insight that I didn't make decisions with before. And now I can be okay, even if those decisions, if the outcome of those decisions isn't exactly what I want it to be. So,
what would you say when people can't see that then? Like what they did in the past and it affects.
It's really hard.
They just keep doing the same thing and they wonder why. I don't understand.
I stop talking to them. I get frustrated.
Wow.
I mean, I'll be nice and be your friend, but if I see a person who's stuck on the squirrel wheel.
It's crazy ride.
He's going around, thinking they're going somewhere. All they're doing is moving their legs a lot, And I see people like that, and I'm like, okay. If they don't ask for any advice or anything, I just leave them alone because they haven't gotten tired of the wheel yet.
They haven't gotten tired of.
You have to wait until they're tired of the wheel, and they might listen to you. They might jump off the wheel and do something different. But if someone comes to me and says, you know what? My life is like this. I'm not sure what to do. Okay. Let's talk. Let me ask you a few questions.
Let's dig.
And then depending upon how much they're willing to share and be open and vulnerable and respond, then that tells me I can keep asking questions until we get to the point where they stop. And that's where their painful boundary is, Smärtgräns.
Smärtgräns. Yeah.
So I think
the pain limit.
Yeah, and I think, and we all have it, and we're all like, I think, like, so if you've grown up at home and there's things that are missing in that relationship. So I grew up without a dad.
Yeah.
So I don't really, the closest I've ever come to having a daddy kind of relationship is actually with my father-in-law, which didn't happen until I moved to Sweden in 1996.
And you were?
And I was born in 1962.
Now do the calculation.
That's like over 30 years of not having. I mean, and
didn't you have like a grandfather or someone? Didn't you have grandparents?
Yeah. Oh my. And yeah, and my mom's, my grandmother's my maternal grandmother's husband, because it's not my mom's dad, because he died when she was really little. But those first few years, he was an alcoholic.
Oh,
and then he became saved, and then he died after 10 years.
Okay.
So by the time 1980, when I graduated out of high school, he's already dead.
Oh.
Or he died maybe like right after that or something. And so he really wasn't around those formative years and stuff like that. My paternal grandfather, that side of my family, my dad's side of the family is just estranged. It's really estranged. It's just after the divorce, they just, and I know it's probably a horrible thing to say. I just don't really, I've never experienced the fact that my grandmother actually really loved me. She may have loved me. She may have really
showed it. Or you never received
any
perception.
I think I said this before, but I don't know when my dad died and she wanted to get a big fancy casket that cost $30,000. And my dad said, just put me into a box.
Yeah.
And
Make
so
it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple. And so I got a nice casket. It was like $3,000 or whatever. So like 30,000 crowns, which is way more you pay for a casket in Sweden.
How much you pay in Sweden?
I think it's like 8,000 crowns to 10,000, whatever. So, so it's like $500,000, whatever.
Yeah.
So, and so I was trying to explain to her. I said, well, I talked to Dad before he died. He didn't want all this fancy stuff. And I had, my voice is strained. And I had to make a decision. And so, because I'm the oldest, I'm the oldest son, oldest of the grandchildren.
You got to decide. Or you got to put your foot down, or you got to step up, or...
And the oldest male living.
Oh, the descendant.
So...
Yeah.
So I made a decision.
Yeah.
And she didn't talk to me.
Because she didn't do her bit.
She just sat there stone-faced.
Ooh.
And I've never heard from her again until after she died.
It was such a big deal for her.
Well, I mean...
It's so strange. Why?
She would always get me... Okay, so she used to complain about my hair.
Because you had...
Because I had afro hair.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, you have this nappy bad hair, but your cousins have such good hair.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, I get this shirt for your cousin. So my cousins were bigger than me. They were taller than me. And she would get clothes their size, which of course would be too big for me. I'm like, okay. And yeah, and there were just all these different things. So I never really had a close connection with that side of the family. So I think that, and I've just always been so independent. My mom was a single mom. And so I've never really had like I want to have a close, intimate relationship or partnership with someone, but I don't have a need for someone, if that makes any sense.
Like, you would appreciate it, but it's not like you have to have it.
Yeah, like, I would never... I can't imagine getting together with someone, being together, or being married to someone, because I felt, oh, but I have to have you.
If I don't have you, I'll die.
Yeah, I'm like, obviously I won't die. I mean, and that's...
Some people died of a broken heart.
I won't die of a broken heart. I'll just get over it.
Because you don't have a heart.
No, but I think those other relationships, like surviving... So, let's see. Surviving when the boy's biological mom, when she walked out on us when they were 1 and 2 years old, stole
really
all of our money and everything. We were evicted. I had to be homeless for a time. But it was okay. I mean, I made it past that.
Yeah.
I made it past her stealing. I made it past her lying. I made it past her everything. And then the next relationship I had, that ended because we just wanted to go in 2 different directions, you know, and I made it past that.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, and what that's taught me was that,
I can survive.
I can survive the pain of separation, the grieving of a lost relationship. I'll eventually will be okay.
Yeah.
And that sort of formed me into this person who just doesn't, I don't know, maybe I can't be. I mean, it could be that I can't form an attached, deep bond to someone where you feel you're addicted to them.
You're addicted to them? Okay. That just sounds unhealthy.
Yeah, I'm just, and it doesn't mean I don't love anyone. Doesn't mean I would miss people if they're out of my life. It just means that we're talking about our past forming us.
Yeah.
Those experiences in the past have, like, I have a knowledge that I can come back to. I'll be okay. I will survive. If Annette walks out, or if she dies, or a hurricane comes and sweeps off the house, yes, I will be heartbroken. I would be sad. I probably even need to stop ministry for a while and just have time to process everything. Mm-hmm. But eventually, I will just come back and I'll be okay and I'll continue to go on. Mm-hmm. And maybe some people are like, oh, that's not even romantic. It sounds so cold.
About romance. Not everyone is like Romeo and Juliet. They were teenagers, please.
Oh, I would not have killed myself for someone either. But anyway, no. But I think that even like growing up outside of Chinatown and having those relationships, I don't know why I dated so many Chinese women.
Because that's your thing. That's
I guess it's my thing. It's my type. Chinese women who parents don't want me to be with them, and so I was just over and over. But I think all those things also help to form me. Also, they formed like how I think about things. They formed all those kind of things. And so your friend, then, I would think that what your friend needs is like just to sit down and be honest with himself. He needs someone to ask those kind of questions that will make you reflect upon who you are, why you're doing things, and then you can keep asking yourself, but is this what I really want to continue to do? And if I keep choosing it, at some point I need to either come to reality, I'm going to keep making this choice because I really like something in this choice, or there's something wrong. I'm looking for something I haven't found, something that I think I can find if I find the right person in this choice, which usually is not the case. People don't make you whole. So anyone who feels like they're missing something, you will never find completion in another person.
No.
That's the stupidest thing. You cannot. You can only be completed by God. And I think that's the thing that bothers people is that here's something that's so existential that you can't even run away from it. You cannot be completed by another human being.
It's a lot of pressure for that other person to be everything for you.
Oh yeah,
and they're going to fail you, even if they try really hard. They're going to fail you.
Of course. There are no perfect people. And then people say, oh, but I had a perfect relationship. I'm like, really?
No.
Then there's a lie somewhere. And that's the truth. There's people who don't disagree.
They're not
lying.
saying everything.
They're not being truthful.
They're not saying everything. Because you cannot be 100% on everything.
No. Even though, and in any time where, and when you're seeing that people are walking around on eggshells, when you meet the person outside the relationship, and they're totally different than they are in the relationship, there's too great a disparity. There's something that's not right. At some point, somewhere along the line, they're not being themselves. They're not being for real.
Yeah.
And so, and again, you would look back to the past. Why is that person? What is it in their past? What is it that either recently or the distant past that has happened that makes that person unable to be themselves in that particular relationship? So some people know what it takes in order to keep someone in the relationship, and so they keep doing this and they're living a double life.
Yeah.
But they're never. And I believe a good, healthy relationship is a relationship, and I don't mean being a bastard or being mean to people or beating people or manipulating or taking all their money or isolating people. Those things are bad. If you're in a relationship with those, please leave. Unless you're married, then I guess you're stuck. But
go get help.
Go get help. Yes, but a good, healthy relationship, it should be okay and easy for you to be the person who you are.
Yeah.
In a good, healthy relationship, you should be able to talk about things without it exploding.
Not necessarily.
Yeah. In a good, healthy relationship.
Yeah.
But the more the relationship tends to explode as you start to share about true things, how you're truly feeling about things, how you're truly experiencing things, as you're just wanting feedback or something like that, then you those are signs that you're not in a healthy relationship. And you have to understand. And you have to figure out, why do you put yourself in that situation? Why do you continue? I mean, if you're dating, you date 3 people in a row.
Yeah, they're all.
And in all those relationships, these people are not able to accept or process or allow you to be the person you are. So you're like, oh, hey, I was just thinking about studying this, that, or to do this and that, or have this hobby I'm going to go to. oh, that's just a stupid thing, whatever. And you start to feel, and instead of like having the self integrity to be able to say, no, but I really do like this. If you don't like it, I understand that. Thanks for being truthful, but I like this and I'm still going to like this, even if you don't like it. That's that self integrity that makes you tell the truth and stand for what you really believe, even if it means the relationship can't continue.
Yeah, or we'll get hurt, or we'll be weakened, or there will be conflict.
Yeah. And so you have to look at all these different kind of things. And the best way to do is really just say, hang out with people, make observations, and then say, can I ask you a question?
Woo.
So, and maybe that's like, it's not a normal joking around session that we normally do, but I guess.
Sad.
I know. I want to tell some jokes. So anyway, yeah. So, and now we're talking about your past in relationship to your relationships. But what about job choices? Yeah. You know, some people really want to do something different with their life, but somewhere in their past, someone's told them not to.
Well,
she's trying to make us wrap up here because she thinks she's been talking too long. I've been listening.
All our listeners say, yeah, right.
Yeah, they're all like, we know. The meter still hasn't balanced out yet.
So I think the past is shaping us quite a lot, and
we want to talk about your past.
We are not stuck in it. We are not.
No, you can always make a new choice.
I've gone all through this. Now I'm screwed. It's not like that.
No. It's never too late to change.
Yeah,
it's never too late to make new choices. You just have to. You have to understand that your stomach's going to tighten up. There's going to be butterflies in your stomach, and then for every new choice that you're going to change now, or a new choice you make, you're going to feel nervous because you have no reference point. You don't know how it's going to work out.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's easier to choose what you're comfortable with,
even if it's crappy.
Yeah. And sometimes for some people, they feel like it's better to have the crappy I know than the I don't know what's coming if I don't choose the crappy. So, that's and it's I don't know.
Be courageous.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this and you feel like, oi, that's starting to resonate with me, and you need someone to talk to, we do counseling. So Lynn and I can talk to you. It does cost money, unfortunately. She's laughing, but she knows it's true. So you just reach out to us, and we can make that happen for you and talk to you and try to help you to gain some answers. We're not here to try to like psychoanalyze you. We can't give you drugs or anything.
No.
But we can listen, we can ask questions, and we can help you to gain more insight about who you are and why you do the things you do, and maybe encourage you to take a risk and do something different that's really closer to who you're supposed to be. Yeah. Okay. I was going to say I'll be your true self, but I guess we can say improve because that means you suck. So.
Wow. Okay, guys. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Lynn, for bringing this up. I know this is an important question for you.
Yeah.
Generation. What generation are you?
Millennial.
Oh, are you a millennial?
Yes.
Okay, that's why you look like you're 1,000 years old. Whoa! Okay, everyone, all you millennials out there, I just burnt you too. Okay.
Aren't you a boomer?
Yeah, I'm a baby boomer.
So yeah, okay.
I feel like baby boomers like the 1940s. Wow.
Okay, bye everyone.
Okay, bye, Kaggy. I'll stop rambling. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for listening. If you have any comments or ideas, please send us a message to fikaforlife@mail.com. Fika, F-I-K-A. This was the Fika for Life podcast with Lynn Nguyen and Edward Thomas, and we hope to hear you again.